So if you followed along with the last video, you ran into a point here at the end where we're getting ready to connect our hood to the side of the car. And we noticed that there's a little bit of a discrepancy between the contour of the hood and the contour of the car. And that's because I made my hood perfectly flat, which obviously is a mistake because they usually have a contour to them. So what I'm going to do is just come in and I'm going to grab the cross edges on my hood. And I'm just going to start by pulling them up to kind of line up with their connections here on the, I guess the side view of the car. And then once I do that, I'm going to have to come back in and just kind of make sure that my contours are correct here on the front of the car. And then I can start connecting the dots, basically. So I'm going to grab these two verts here. Well, like we noticed before, we have to actually combine these objects. So I'm going to mesh combine. And now using F9, I'm going to grab two verts, and I'm just going to merge them together. I'm going to do that for basically every vert here on the car. So I grab the corners and I merge them together. And then I'm going to merge these two together. And merge. So what we've got now is a really rough kind of front of our car. I think this vert probably needs to be pulled out some and up. These can probably be pulled down a little bit. And we're just trying to follow the contour again of the car. Now it looks like I've done something here. I've followed the exact side view. But the car, most cars have what we call a shoulder here. And that's where this side view actually needs to be. So I'm going to grab each of those verts and I'm just going to pull them down a little bit. And what that should do is that should allow me to kind of change all of these verts across the front and keep a contour to the hood, but also stay in line with where my actual verts are supposed to be. So we've got that now, kind of the hood and the front of the car is still a really rough estimate. But we're going to follow along and we're going to actually create the top of the car. So in order to do that, we want to grab this line here, pretty much right in line with the windshield. And we're going to extrude those and make sure we use the power tool. We're going to extrude them straight back. And then we're going to pull them up here in the side view. And you notice how I'm using the top view to kind of get the depth. And then I'm using the side view here to kind of get the height of where the edge needs to go. And I'm just going to kind of scale it in and make sure it's there in the right location. So that's pretty much close. I do need to grab this and pull it down and just kind of try to keep everything in a consistent line. And now what I should be able to do is come through grabbing those same four edges. Once I get them lined up, I got to use the front view and actually kind of line them up to the front shape of the car. But once I get it correct in the top view for the depth and the side view for the height and then the front view just kind of for the width, I can come back in and grab the four verts or the four edges and I can extrude those straight back along the length of the car. And what I want to do is I just want to kind of keep them in line with the edges that I have here on the bottom of the car or on the side of the car here. So I've got one edge right here. I just want to extrude back and get one edge in line with that. Then I want to extrude back again and get another edge in line with this one. extrude back again, and get another edge kind of in line with this one here. And just repeat that process for basically every edge I have here on the side of the car, until I get to the back. Now what I need to do is come to the side of the car, and I need to grab these individual edges, and I just need to kind of shape them again to sort of follow along with the shape of the car, because that is the goal here, is to actually create the shape of the car. So I want to make sure that all of my edges and all of my verts are pretty much in line with where they need to be. And I think I'm doing pretty well here. So I've got kind of the side of the car and kind of the top of the car. Really rough estimates here. Neither of them are accurate right now, but at least I've got the edges in place so that I can manipulate the shape. So now what I want to do is come in, and I need to create this frame here and this frame here in the back. And that's going to be kind of tough to do with the few edges that I do have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in, and especially for this first one, I'm going to grab all of the edges that make up that kind of frame right there, and I'm going to bevel those. And I'm just going to give them 2 segments for now, and say apply. I'm going to undo that. I'm actually going to give them 1 segment. So I'm going to come up here to my poly bevel 1 and change the segment to 1. And then what I'm going to do, once I have the segment at 1, I can come back in, and you see how it just kind of split those edges, and it just gave me a few more verts to work with. And with that, now I can come in, I can grab this edge, I can extrude it up, and in the side view I can actually come in and I can merge these verts together. So now that I've done that, I should be able to actually move those verts into place to really outline the shape of this frame right here. So I'm going to repeat that process kind of here on the back, and I think I need to move this edge forward a little and kind of put this edge in the middle. And then I can grab the top edge row here and this edge there, and I can bevel them. And I'm just going to make it 1 segment this time. And then I can come in and actually line up the verts with where they need to be. Right? And since I've got more detail here, I can actually use the new verts that I've got to kind of help me round out the wheel well. Right? Since I have more verts, I can make it rounder. And then up in the top, I'm just going to kind of spread it out. And now I can grab this edge and I can extrude it. And then just snap the verts in place. And I'm snapping the verts by holding down the V key on the keyboard. You can see how it changes the actual vert there. So if I hold down the V key, then I can snap it to another vertex. So I've got that, and I'm going to grab pretty much all of these verts here and say edit mesh and merge, just to keep everything kind of the same single mesh. And now you see I'm starting to kind of take the shape of a car. I'm going to repeat that process here on the back, and just mostly for this one edge here. I'm going to grab this edge and I'm going to extrude it down. Actually, I'm just going to go ahead and grab all the edges across the back here. I'm going to extrude them all down. just kind of pull them to in line with this edge here on the back. So we'll end up here on the top view. We'll be able to move this vert, and then the rest of them we just kind of start to put into place where they're supposed to be. We're just kind of trying to follow the bottom glass of the car here. So the bottom of the back glass is the edge that I'm trying to follow with these verts here. That's pretty much the second video. I've got a lot more detail to work with. I can insert an edge here and extrude it up and get the kind of back frame. And then I'll have the kind of basic workings of a car. I know this is tedious and is kind of a lot of information, but what you need to remember is that you kind of follow the shape in one view, and then you take those verts and you reshape them in another view, and then you reshape them in the third view. And if they're right in all three views, if they're in the exact position they need to be in all three views, then they'll be right for the overall perspective view of the car, which is what we're going for. So right now we have kind of a clunker. Doesn't have a whole lot of detail to it, but it is still a car. And I guess as far as the first week goes, getting this shape done and then duplicating it over the middle and ending up with a shape that looks something like this, and then come in and merge all these central verts. That'll be good enough for this week. And then next week we can actually look at adding in the windows and the wheels and the door handles and the mirrors, because all of that is just detail stuff. And I'll probably get one of those videos up later this week just to go ahead and give you a head start on it. But the assignment for this week is just going to be to kind of make the shell of the car. So go ahead and come in the back here and extrude these down and kind of connect them with where they need to be, and do the same thing here on the front. And once you get that shell, just turn that in this week, and then next week we'll look at some of the other details of the car. If you have any questions, let me know.